Welcome to The Sarah Scoop Show. It's time to get the scoop with Sarah.
Hey everybody, we are catching up with Benjamin Norris with The Sarah Scoop Show, and we are very excited for him to be our guest today. Could you just tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got into acting?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm originally from New York, and I've always kind of, I guess you can say, performed. I would always put on little shows and stuff for my family. I always created my own little videos. That's kind of as far back as I can remember. So I think I was acting before I even knew that I wanted to be an actor or a writer or any of that. And then it started getting a little bit more serious in college, but I really always wanted to take the producing and the writing route. Even when I moved out to Los Angeles, I actually first worked for a television network. I wasn't even kind of focusing on acting. And then, the more I created my own projects, the more I realized, my true passion is just creating and being in front of the camera as opposed to behind it. And then I quit my job and, started auditioning, and here I am, X amount of years later, and I couldn't be happier with my career choice.
That's amazing. It sounds like everything's just fallen into place for you.
It has. It's taken a little while. It's not easy, but it has fallen into place, and there's always more work to do, though, and you got to keep hustling, and nothing's ever handed to you,
That is so true, especially in the entertainment industry.
Yep.
So, How has your life changed since the new show on Netflix aired?
It's really cool. I think, even just in the last 24 hours, a lot of people have reached out to me, a lot of them being people who I talk to on an everyday basis, but also a lot of people who I haven't spoken to in a little while, and a lot of strangers, and people saying that, what I'm doing is inspirational, even though, I think a lot of things that a lot of people are doing are inspirational, especially in a time like this. But it is very flattering, and it is very cool to just, the whole reason why I do it is because I love entertaining people, and that's what I've always loved doing. And just to see the truly positive feedback from this project, it's just reassurance that I'm doing exactly what I need to be doing.
That's amazing. It's great you're getting such positive response from it.
Yeah.
So, on your IMDb, it says that you can focus on comedic projects. Is there a certain aspect of comedy that you're just drawn to?
Yeah, I think, I've always wanted to make people laugh. I think one of my defense mechanisms growing up was just trying to use humor to either get out of things or get out of awkward situations. I was also kind of a late bloomer. I was a very small, underdeveloped kid for a very long time, and although I had a great group of friends, I was definitely teased a little bit. And I think a lot of comics and comedians and comedic actors, it's just it just comes natural to them because it was always just in their bones. That's how we dealt with things. So I think to me, originally, comedy was just this perfect tool that I could use in an everyday life. Because I think a perfect way to disarm someone is just to make them laugh or to make them smile. And I don't mean that in a defensive way. I just more so mean that in a, hey, we're in the same space. Let's just have a good time in this space while we're together. I love laughing. I think humor is a universal language, and I think it's so important. Drama's important too, but I think comedy is so important, especially for your mental health. So yeah, I just always want to make people laugh. That's what I've always wanted to do, and what I want to continue to do. That's
amazing. And so, have you been able to actually meet Mindy and talk to her at all?
Yeah. So actually, my first day on set, I met her. She came over to give a note to Maitreyi, who plays Davy, and they were already a few days into shooting, but that was my first day on set. The Office is my favorite, comedy of all time, and like many people's. And Mindy is such an inspiration. Just she was so young when she got on the show as a writer. They made her an actor on it, and her trajectory is almost exactly what I want. So when I saw her, it was really surreal. That it was man, I looked up to this woman, from for the last 15 years or however long, and here she is, and I'm working on something that she created, and on top of that, she is an absolute gem of a person, and it was just like, that was one of the most surreal moments, was just like, when I saw her, and I'm like, I'm doing something that she's involved in. I mean, it's like truly a dream come true, and she's really a great person.
She seems like she's amazing. I've listened to her audiobooks before. She's hilarious.
She really is, and actually, I'd say like the first interaction I had with her, she introduced herself to me at that moment, but we were moving along and whatnot. But it was actually my second day on set that she made me feel so at home, and I'm a co-star. I'm not one of the series regulars, so I'm not on set as much as the series regulars. And so I always want to know my place. I never want to overstep my boundaries. I'm very grateful to be there. And we were shooting a scene in a supermarket parking lot, and it was really hot, so I wanted some shade. We were in between takes, and the producer's tent where she was sitting was just kind of like 20 feet away from me, and I didn't want to like go in there or whatnot. And all of a sudden, I see her waving me over, and she's like, "Come here," and I'm like, "Oh, me?" Like,
yeah.
And she's like, "Yeah," and I'm like, "Okay," and I go over, and she's just like, "Hey, like, I just want to let you know that you're like making us all laugh the last 2 days. Like, even though you don't have any lines, like, you really have been like killing us at Video Village." And I just like, I'm not a big crier, but I could have cried in that moment. I was going to, because I had to keep it professional. But like, it's little things like that, and maybe she knows how much that means, and maybe she doesn't understand fully, but like, God, like, that meant the world to me. Like, one of my idols was validating what I do, and it also just made me feel at home on set. That was my second day on set, and that really set the tone for the rest of my experience. I walked the set every day after that with a new level of confidence, and I think it's really important if you're a showrunner, if you're a boss on set, you gotta let your crew and your talent know that they're doing a good job, because it makes them feel good and it makes them excited to come to work.
That's so true. It just sets a good tone for an atmosphere for everything.
Yeah, it was really cool.
So, is there anything specific that kind of drew you to the project, or was it just that she was involved, or the character?
Yeah, I got the audition, and I saw that, and when you're auditioning all the time, things can be a little cynical. You can be a little pessimistic about things, because it's hard. You book 1% of the roles you go out for, and I try to curb my enthusiasm every time I get an audition and there's a name attached to it who I'm a fan of, and I always want to manage my expectations. So when I saw that I had an audition for a project she was doing, I kind of took my usual tone of that's really cool, that would be cool. And then when I found out I got it, I was like, oh, now you could actually freak out that you could be a part of a Mindy Kaling show. And honestly, I remember reading the description, but I'll be honest, just seeing Mindy's name, I almost didn't care what the project was about, because I was like, whatever she does is going to be gold. So I'm down to do whatever she wants. And then I really read into the project, and I was like, oh, this is going to be an important piece, a very of the times important piece, cultural, inclusive. It's a very 2020 show, and I think that shows.
Yeah, that's great. And I know Netflix is always on the cutting edge of current trends and in the world, and translating that to film and television. So, I guess going a little bit into more, can you just tell us about your character a little bit, and kind of if you relate to him at all?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's Trent Harrison, and boy, do I love Trent. I think that there's a lot of similarities to myself in high school and Trent. I think Trent might be a little more bro-y than I actually was, but nonetheless, it's really fun to play him. And I think so I've always kind of set out to play the sidekick. I never really set out to play the leading man. I love watching a show or a movie and say, that other character was awesome. So I think this is truly a dream role to me, because he kind of is that other character, and I love that about him. and I just love his allegiance to Paxton. He loves Paxton, and it was written that way, but Darren and I, the guy, who plays Paxton, like, we really played that up, and I was like, I'm gonna make sure Trent will do anything for Paxton, because I think that's such a cool character trait. And I think that is a lot like how I was in high school. I think I had a lot of allegiance to my friends and a lot of loyalty. And he's just he's a character, but he definitely likes to party, and he definitely likes to crack jokes. And he's Trent, and that's and that's what I love about him.
Well, there you go. It sounds like you're having a great time portraying him.
I am. He's like, I would love to just keep being Trent for a while, because he's a lot of fun to play.
Well, that's awesome. So do you have like a favorite comedian, or is there a comedian that you look up to that you maybe would want to work with in the future?
Yeah, I kind of like all of my idols in the business are all comedians. I mean, I have a few that I would love to work with. I've always loved Chris Lilly, the Australian creator who did Summer Heights High. And I love him, but especially I love his characters, so I love doing characters, and I love it when the characters are kind of ridiculous, but they're also kind of grounded in reality, and I love mockumentary style projects, so he kind of fits the exact mold of what I'm looking to do. And then along with that, Kyle Mooney, who's on SNL. I've actually been a fan of Kyle since he was first on YouTube, like, years and years ago, and I was hooked on his characters, and when he got SNL, I couldn't be more excited for him. And then Kristen Wiig is one of my other idols, and she's just like, I don't have to watch Kristen Wiig be funny, I can just watch her be a character. I don't need her, like, I think she just truly is a chameleon, and that's just like what I'm trying to do. So those people I really kind of like study, I would say.
Sure, and I know Kristen Wiig especially. She's just like bloomed into this insanely huge actress from SNL to these amazing comedic movies. So that's a neat career path that you never know could happen. So you have your own YouTube channel and you create your own productions. Do you have a favorite part of the creative process?
I think if I had to choose, aside from actually making the project and being excited about it, I think when I have like the initial seed idea, I think it takes me a little longer to make things as compared to some other people sometimes, because like I can't make something without being 150% excited about that. Like I can't think of something and I'm like, that could be good, let's make it. Like I have to make sure I'm completely gassed on the project. And I would say, like, whenever an idea comes to me, usually it's in the shower. For some reason, I do my best thinking in the shower, and I don't know if it's because it's just, like, white noise or something. Mm-hmm. But a lot of the times, that's where I come up with my ideas. And, like, when I get an idea that excites me, I know right then and there, like, this is going to happen, and I think it's going to be good. I would say, like, kind of the initial birth of the ideas excites me the most, because then the actual, production and process can be a little nerve-wracking, a little frustrating, a little anxiety-driven. It's always exciting, it's always fun, but that initial seed idea, nothing's as, like, clean and pure and exciting as that for me.
Sure, that makes sense, and it's always fun to see where could this idea go, and just start at the beginning, brainstorming.
Exactly.
So, from writing and producing and acting, is there a specific area that you prefer or that you enjoy the most?
Yeah, it's interesting. Like I've gotten this question before, and it's always kind of hard to answer it, to be honest, because obviously, like I would love to say, oh, I love them all equally. I think what it comes down to is just storytelling in general, and I've always been a storyteller. I think when I was growing up, I definitely stretched truths a little bit just to make things more exciting, and I think we all did that. Maybe we didn't, but I love storytelling. I love getting a reaction out of people, and I love entertaining people. So I do love them all, but I will say that one of the reasons why I first quit that job at the television network is because I started making a lot more content of my own, and I started realizing how in love with acting I am, even though I didn't study acting in college or anything. But there were I did a lot of senior thesis in college. Like, I acted in a lot of my film friends' projects, and there were actually a few professors who encouraged me to focus on acting when I moved out to LA, and I didn't really take their advice. But after a while, I realized, like, if I had to choose, I might actually choose acting, even though I love writing, I love storytelling. But there's something about, like, just being a character. I never want to be myself on camera. I always want to be a character, and I always want to kind of lose myself in that character because I think that's fun.
Mm-hmm. I would say Johnny Depp is a great example of a chameleon as far as crazy characters.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Johnny Depp, I think, rest in peace, Philip Seymour Hoffman was, like, arguably one of the best at that. So one of the reasons why I love the actors that I love is I love actors who are magicians, and what I mean by that is you're watching their character and you can't see them. You can only see their character. And also Christian Bale is like that. Like I said, Kristen Wiig. Like, these people, I think I'm watching them and I'm watching their character. I'm not watching them. And it's kind of fun sometimes to see, like, some of them slip, and I'm like, oh, I saw him there, I saw her there. But, yeah, I just love the people who can just completely transform. I think Kate McKinnon is like that, too.
Oh, yes.
I love people who completely just transform. Absolutely.
That's so true. I was watching SNL this past weekend, and Kenan Thompson was on in the beginning, and I forgot I was even watching him because he was so hilarious, and I was like, this is the funniest thing I've ever seen. So he was, I love getting to see
I love
that.
him, and if anyone doesn't love Kenan, I would love to have a word with them, because he's a national treasure, and I grew up watching him when he was on Nickelodeon, and, like, talk about a cool career. That guy loves what he does, and that's someone I could look at and be like, yeah, I just want to do what I love, like, he's doing, Like, he's been asked many times, like, oh, you've been on SNL for so long, are you going to leave? And his answer is always kind of the same. He's like, oh, well, why would I leave? Like, I love doing what I do, and I think that's just so honorable,
Yeah, and it's amazing that you're getting to do something you love to do. I know so many people want that career, and it's so hard to get, and it's amazing when you get the opportunity to really just, like, this is your life. Yeah,
it truly is a dream come true. It's a tough industry, and it's a tough town, and it seems impossible sometimes. And you just gotta let it roll off your back, and you just gotta keep going.
Exactly. So I was reading, you took improv classes at Groundlings. Do you feel like you've been able to use any of your improv skills in the new Netflix show?
Yeah. Well, first, before I touch on that, I do just want to give, like, a great shout out to Groundlings, and even though I didn't go as far in it as some other people, it not only teaches you tools for improv specifically, but like I said, I'm a character person, and it really taught me ways to build my characters and make them more three-dimensional. Because characters, there has to be every element to a character. They can't just be funny. And as far as the improv goes, I was able to improv on Never Have I Ever, and that was another thing that was so cool about it. Like, every director kind of let you go a little bit at the end of the scenes. It was mostly at the top and bottom of the scenes. But there were a few moments where I'm watching the show and I'm like, wow, they left that in. Like, that's really cool of them. And I'm sure that's a reflection of who Mindy is as a person. It comes back to the showrunner, it comes back to the boss, and whose vision it is. And, like, that's evidence of trusting your actors. And I think that's really cool. I loved improvising on the set of the show.
That's always fun. You never know what's going to happen and what might be the magic moment. Everyone's like, oh, that's hilarious. But they don't realize that was just made up right on the fly. So that's always exciting.
Actually, I do want to specifically mention one scene. I couldn't believe they left this in, but I think it was I believe it was episode 8. But Ben throws a party, and kind of the opening shot at that party, myself and the Marcus character played by Dana Bonds, he was awesome. We're standing at the punch bowl making punch, and there is a giant bug, which I know is actually called a fig beetle, but it's one of those giant beetles that's flying around us. It started flying around us before the director Anu called action, and I was like, "Oh, does anyone realize there's a bug here?" But they called action, and you got to be in character. The show must go on. So I start swatting at the bug in the character of Trent. And then once Jaren, the guy who plays Ben, once Jaren arrived at the table, we all started laughing, and I thought like, oh man, it would have been funny if we didn't start laughing. But sure enough, they cut right before that, and they left it in. So if anyone's watching that episode, I think that's a really fun Easter egg to know that was a real bug, and that was obviously not scripted.
It wasn't a CGI bug. It was a real bug.
It was not a CGI bug.
Oh, that's so funny. So, do you have any upcoming projects you would like to tell us about?
I have a few of my own projects in the works that I'm writing and that I'm writing right now. I did just do an episode of Superstore, which on NBC, which aired last Thursday. And I get adopted by my character gets adopted by one of the characters on that show, and the feedback has been really, really great from the audience. And I did just read somewhere that maybe they'll explore that relationship in the next season. So I'm really keeping my fingers crossed that they'll be bringing Tony as the character. They'll be bringing Tony back. So I'm hoping that that's kind of the next thing on my horizon, but. Other than that, I'm kind of always writing and always trying to get something in development of my own. And then recently in this quarantine, my girlfriend and I actually moved in together right as the quarantine started. So interesting time to move in together. But we started writing stuff together for the first time, and we're having a lot of fun with it. We just put out one video a few weeks ago, and we're gonna write another short to shoot while we're here. So we want that to kind of be our project, so we don't go so stir crazy.
So you're still being productive, even though you can't really do much. That's great.
yes, we're trying to. That's the way my girlfriend and I both stay sane in general. Is like we feel like we're getting stuff done as long as we're working on our own projects. I think we're both artists, and we need a creative outlet.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, fingers crossed about Superstore. That would be amazing. Get to hang out with America Ferrera a little bit more.
I know.
Well, thank you so much for taking the time to talk with us. It was great getting to learn a little bit about you and about your projects, and it sounds like you have a great career ahead of you.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate this. This means a lot.
Oh, that's great. Thank you again. Have a wonderful day and stay safe.
Awesome. Thank you. You too.
Okay, thanks. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for watching The Sarah Scoop Show. Head to sarahscoop.com for more.